Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas Smith. I'm the head of business development at Netcapital. Let's give everyone a few moments here to get settled in. All right. Looks like everyone is coming in now. Give it a few more moments, and then we have a few items to go over before we get started. All right, great. Well, as I mentioned, we have a few housekeeping items to go over before we dive in with the CliqRex team. As with all of our companies that we host in our webinars, CliqRex is actively raising on Netcapital right now. You can invest in CliqRex by clicking the link that I'm going to drop in the chat or by visiting netcapital.com, and you can do so by browsing our site. Next, I want to mention that we do want this webinar to be as interactive as possible. So please, when asking questions, use the Q&A function, not the chat, which just help me stay a little bit more organized, but the Q&A function, and we'll be answering many of your questions as we go through and talking with the team. And it looks like, I'm looking at everyone who's joined, there are a lot of investors that have previously invested in CliqRex that are listening in, and I know there are folks that are interested in investing but would like to hear from the team. We're going to do our best to cover both sides of the aisle. And with that being said, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome in the CliqRex team. And I'd like to start with James, who is the co-founder and CEO of the company. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for this opportunity.
No, thank you guys. I know how extremely busy you are, and we really appreciate you taking the hour to chat with us. And so, James, just to start, folks want to hear from you and just give a brief overview on the company.
Yeah, CliqRex came out. It was a child of the pandemic, and when people were talking to friends and family, hey, what are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? And we realized that there was a void that was not being filled, by an app that would allow you to get recommendations from your friends and family. So that's essentially where CliqRex came from.
That's great. And I've had the pleasure of working with you guys for quite some time now, and just seeing, knowing how the company started and where it's gotten to, it's been really impressive. But with any great company, there is a great team. So I'd love to just go around the screen here and just people want to hear about your backgrounds and what makes the CliqRex team so special. So James, why don't we start with you? If you could just fill folks in a little bit about your background.
Yeah, awesome. James O'Loughlin, the CEO, co-founder, grew up in California, have did missile guidance in the Army. I've been interested in technology since grade school in the Apple II. Started programming, started doing agency life after college. Been doing agency. I currently run a full spectrum digital marketing agency in Cincinnati. Also an early adopter of Bitcoin, started mining those in 2011. So I've just really been involved in technology. I also teach UI and UX, that's user interface and user experience, at a local university here in Cincinnati.
Awesome. And James, feel free to popcorn it around as
All right, Dara, that's the boss here.
Hi, I'm Dara O'Loughlin. I'm James's wife, and we have worked together on many, many things over the years. We enjoy projects where we can just both share our strengths. And I don't know, I think James has a lot of the big ideas, and then I get into the nitty gritty. So that's been my role. We've done a lot of things together, including building out a bus that we tore apart and turned into a recreational vehicle for our son who has significant special needs. So that involved a lot of creativity and problem solving. and a lot of heart and compassion too. So currently I am a teacher. I teach yoga and mindfulness at the University of Cincinnati. And yeah, I'm working a lot on CliqRex and enjoying that a lot as the head of the experience. So CXO, Chief Experience Officer. I'll give it to Jillian.
Hello, I'm Gillian Oakenfull. I grew up in Ireland and England and actually came to the US to play college tennis. I also played a little bit of pro tennis, enough just to ruin my knees for the rest of my life. I am a professor of marketing at the Farmer School of Business at Miami University. I've been there 25 years. I'm also a brand building consultant with a whole range of different companies and have been doing that really throughout my career. With a big interest in consumer behavior, inclusive marketing, and really go-to-market strategy. Have a really keen interest in disruptive innovation, and that's what really drew me to CliqRex and the opportunities that I saw here. I'm also CEO of a consulting company called Rethink Lab, and that's actually also partnering with CliqRex as we've moved along here. So I will pass it over to Timur.
Hi, everyone. I'm Timur Akelov. I'm a CFO at CliqRex currently. I've been working with James for the past 4 years. We've built an agency called Xora Digital that's helping CliqRex get off the ground. I've been in IT and finance for the past 20 years and trying to help startups get off the ground. That's what we're doing with CliqRex currently. And we have a great team and we're very excited. I'm gonna hand it off to Bob.
Hi, everybody. Bob Roman, Chief Technical Officer here at CliqRex. I had the great opportunity of meeting James and Dara in college back in the late 90s and have been fortunate to retain those friendships and working relationships since. I worked with James many, many years ago in a digital marketing capacity in the early 2000s, and about 20 years ago started my own digital marketing firm that focuses similarly on UX and enterprise solutions in the higher ed and government space.
And not included here is Pete Maston. He was pre-booked. He has extensive experience in startups. I believe he sold or was part of selling his last startup to Meta that did augment AR. So he is our COO. He also helped start a cool little thing a long time ago called IBM Watson. Has also given a lot of AI lectures through his life. So he is our COO.
Thanks, James, and really appreciate everyone sharing their backgrounds. I know I've really enjoyed getting to know each of you when we first engaged and then through the process. And I really think it's, each company has their, secret sauce. And to me, you guys have just put together such an amazing team that can really, it's just amazing what you've accomplished over the past couple of years. So that's going to parlay into my next question. And James, you alluded to it a little bit that the company was a product of the pandemic. So what problem is CliqRex trying to solve?
Yeah, thanks. So I think people struggle to choose between too many entertainment options, as in if you go to Hulu, if you go to Netflix, if you go to even Goodreads, if you go to these other platforms that are trying to provide you with entertainment options, you're just overwhelmed with choices. So we are, we believe that you end up paralyzed from the too many options. So we know that word of mouth, that friendship, you've already vetted your friends, you've already vetted the people that give you options. Let's give you a space to do that within CliqRex. So that's sort of the second part of a problem, is people just don't trust AI or algorithms for recommendations. They trust friends. Additionally, people are concerned about the negative impact of social media. So we intentionally are putting in mindfulness and mindful cues. We want CliqRex to be a tool that you can get in, you can get a good TV show, movie, podcast, book, or YouTube channel. We just added that. And you can go and consume that. So we don't want you to spend hours doom scrolling our app. We want you to use it as a tool to get that in, to get that media for you to consume. And finally, people are searching for meaningful social connections as opposed to just ships passing in the night. So we are attempting to solve all of those problems in CliqRex, and I feel after a year and a half of development, we have a really good foundation for that.
Thanks, James. And it's a problem that I think a lot of people have faced and very widespread. So can you talk about how big the market is for the company?
Sure. I actually have some slides I can show the opportunity here.
Perfect.
Or if you want to share a screen, Jillian, either way, if you want to talk about it. Cool. And we can share this deck. So the market opportunity is slide 8.
Yeah. So let me just sort of go back and frame this up just a little bit. So if any of you are familiar with Clayton Christensen's work on disruptive innovation, a big part of that is really understanding what are the problems that people need to solve in their lives. And James mentioned a couple of these. But what's really pertinent here, I think, to the market opportunity is understanding that what we're doing here with CliqRex really intersects a lot of different spaces. So the first one that James mentioned was, people struggling to choose between too many entertainment options. And that goes all the way into all different types of digital entertainment, which is where we started, and then found it out. We could go into podcasts, we can go into YouTube, we can go into books, and we can actually go into any product where we can get the database. So the digital entertainment market is enormous here. We also then realized that if we're talking about recommendations, there is actually a recommendation industry, a recommendation engine industry that we're tapping into when we talk about giving an alternative to AI. So we're talking about people-powered recommendations, and we're going up against that distrust in AI. Then we also realized that when we're bringing people together, there's a social media impact here. And if we could build something that was really positive, we could really do something about the fact that the people really aren't feeling good about social media. We've done a lot of consumer research that's been part of my role here. And what we're finding is, especially amongst Gen X, there's a real distrust of what's happening in social media, both at an individual level and at a societal level. And so one of the things that we realized here is that we could offer people an alternative where what they were connecting about was something where they had really shared interests. So we had that idea of community, social community, people really having a reason to be together, a positive reason to be together. And the last thing that we found, especially coming out of the pandemic, is that people were really looking for a way to meaningfully connect. And if people are connecting, this is down the road a little bit, but we feel we also maybe have a look at the online dating industry. So what I'm going to show you actually is a market opportunity for those 4 different markets. So we're not in online dating right now, but we have the mechanism to do it, which is our affinity engine, which Bob will talk about in a little bit. But if you see, for the recommendation engine industry, it's the fastest growing of the 4 industries. It's got a growth rate of 33%, estimated to be 17.3 billion in 2028. The streaming services one and the social media one are obviously most established. Social media is still growing at almost 24%, expected to be 9.39 billion by 2026. But I think people are ready for an alternative to what's out there right now. And that's what we're hoping to do, is to really engage them around the content and engage them with those that they're closest to. So one of the things we also found, again, amongst older consumers, is they have concerns about privacy. And again, this idea of sort of staying close to the people that you're closest to within social media is something that came up again and again. The other one, streaming services, 1.69 trillion by 2029, with still a growth rate of 19%. There's over 300 streaming services available to people right now, and they're simply overwhelmed. And then this is a little further out, but the mechanism is there for meeting somebody and finding out what you have in common, how similar your tastes are. So online dating has been again evolving and growing and adjusting as people start to learn how they want to use it. So that's 9.65 billion. with a growth rate of 7.4%. So we really think that we can tap into each of these as it evolves and maybe branch into different things as we see and look at our analytics and see how people are using the app. We do think that this app really can serve sort of different user profiles because it really can do different things for different people. So we think we have a really broad-based appeal for it. And now we can tap into the growth in these different markets.
Thanks, Joanne. And I think, you know, diving in from there and understanding how big the market is, can you talk about the business model and the plan for CliqRex to monetize and make money?
I will hand that back to James.
Yes, this is in line with what I do day in and day out, which is run a digital marketing agency. So we're targeting specific personas and user groups with, you know, essentially ads. So we have 4 revenue streams: ad revenue, which would be your pay-per-click ads, which would be inside of the app, as well as sponsorships. So if Netflix has a new series coming out, Apple has a new series, they can pay for sponsorship to be inside of our app. Affiliate partnerships will allow us to connect directly to, let's say we have books in our app. When you go to Amazon and purchase a book, or you go to Hulu and get a subscription, we will have affiliate partner platforms there. And then premium subscriptions. So the people that don't want to have or see ads, they will have the ability to opt out and purchase premium subscription. I also feel, you know, one cool piece in here, which I've thought about for a while, is that we have the ability to rate and comment on the media that's in here. We would also like for our users to rate and comment on the ads to see how relevant they are to, and I've been thinking about that as I've been seeing ads. I would like to give that a poor rating or a high rating, and that will allow us to tailor ads better to our users.
Thanks, James.
And we, you know, if anybody is interested, we have researched what we call the R pirate metrics, which will do some forecasts and projections, you know, based on advertising and users.
Thanks, James. And I know that, you know, seeing the company evolve, I know what was accomplished last year and really the progression that the company's made. But can you talk about some of the major milestones of 2022? And then we received several questions from folks on asking what to expect in 2023 when you guys think of the year.
Okay. Bob?
Hi, everybody. Thanks. I can certainly address this. So I think where we are right now, obviously, we're entering the point where we're kind of releasing the MVP. And I think collectively as a unit, we feel really good. We've had the time to, over the last year, significantly refactor the app ecosystem, refactor the programmatic base layers, everything down to how we're optimizing and providing consistency around the user experience. This is really has kind of been evidenced by the team in the last 4 to 6 months, increase the ability to get new features out efficiently and bring kind of features to market much faster with a much higher level of stability. I think at the top level where we sit with the app as a whole is, you know, some of the significant milestones or features that we'd like to kind of tout is clearly the thing that's been hit on the most is the affinity engine, which we've created, which genuinely shows a true alignment between friends, users, based on their actual preferences and likes and dislikes versus algorithms and robots. You know, this is all calculated in a proprietary metric here that's based on a unique series of user interactions with media, touch points within the app, and how that's kind of calculated and visually represented to the users throughout the app ecosystem. That kind of stemmed into what is sort of one of the main pivots in the app here, or main features, I should say, is the recommendation engine, which obviously ties into that affinity metric and that engine and really produces genuinely curated recommendations by your friends and people you're close with. As James and the team mentioned so far, we've got about 5 or 6 different media types that we're supporting that we're proud of. Movies, TV shows, podcast episodes, which have a unique layer and touch points, as well as YouTube channels and books. I think one of the other things that we've done here that we've captured within the app that we haven't seen in other ecosystems is the ability for peer-to-peer, friend-to-friend interaction at the podcast episode level, as well as the YouTube episode level, which kind of creates some unique interaction and ability to not only like a series or an array or, a channel, if you will, but really dive into the specifics of individual episodes and highlight those to your network of friends. This is all supported through a robust alert and notification system that once again promote further engagement and awareness of the media and interactions that are taking place within the app. So your friends are aware and are, prompted to return and kind of continue looking. I think from a next major milestone perspective, as I said, through some of the efficiencies that we've created within the last year, we're looking at, as we said, adding new media types such as music, video games, potentially even non-traditional media or, non-digital media, even traditional media, whether that's beer, wine, restaurants, things like that, that could exist in the physical world as well. Once again, through the way that we've engineered and looked at the engine and how the ecosystem can unfold, we're at a great point because I think we can more gracefully and efficiently put these other services in play. Another area where we're continuing to look at and trying to provide greater value to our users is through, a gamification layer. We know that's important in retaining and not only retaining, but encouraging, early adoption and greater adoption by users. So we're looking at that in terms of how we're incentivizing within the app users to continue to grow and explore further. The last thing I would say here is that we continue to kind of find that balance between embracing the digital sphere and, trying to find that balance between healthy life through that CARES model that we're implementing. Is that we're just going to we're going to continue to lean into that and make sure that through the app, the experiences within the app, that we are delivering on that for our users, which I think is a very unique angle and something that we really want to make sure that we are being held accountable for as well.
Two points just to add in which are, that was a great rundown, Bob, is the YouTube channel. We have a place where friends can discuss, YouTube channels and videos with other friends, as opposed to going onto YouTube and being part of the static, which could potentially hundreds and thousands of people talking. And we just received I believe it was 1 million queries a day from Google to do that, which took us about 6 weeks to get to bring YouTube into our app. So you can have those conversations and you can play YouTube channels within the app. Finding out our developer follows 150, one of our developers follows 150 YouTube channels. My daughter follows 92. It's a very up and coming sort of media. The other piece that Bob highlighted was podcast episodes. We don't believe there's any place to discuss podcast episodes or podcasts with your friends or your family. So those are two real sort of aha moments that we had in developing and part of this recommendation engine.
Troy, could I possibly just take a second to expand upon a couple of things that we've mentioned but maybe haven't gone through? So one of them is the CARES model. So we've mentioned this, and it's one of the things where you work with it so much, I think you assume everybody knows it, but and the affinity engine is the other one. So if I just start with this, this is a really, I think, elegantly simple idea of really allowing people to see who they have things in common with and who they share tastes with. And so what we have is the power of the rec. So as people give us more and more data, it allows people to have a visual of who they already know but you may not realize that your tastes are separate, are actually similar, but also who you may not know. So it's a way for people to also expand their world, in that when I'm on the app, I can see people who are not in my clique, but I can immediately look at them and see to what extent. So for example, in this one, Sam and I have a 100% affinity rating. So again, in terms of, if you think about social impact, I may meet people that I never would normally meet in the realm of my life, but I can now see that we have shared interests and I may make that contact. So that's the affinity engine, and it's patent pending. And I think, as I said, I think it's really elegantly simple, and really, this is where I think dating could be a really interesting proposition. The other one is CARES, and this is close to my heart because it's what I developed. And this is something that is being used in the marketplace by companies. It's actually also being used in employee workplaces. But this idea of how does somebody feel safe and secure and have a sense of well-being? And so as we started to work on CliqRex, we realized there was an opportunity to bring this to actually create an environment where we could assure that these 5 things were reached. So the idea of CARES is that for anybody to feel that they have a sense of well-being, they need to feel no threats across these 5 different dimensions. They need to feel a sense of community. They need to feel a sense of agency or control. They need to feel that they're seen, that they're recognized. They need to feel that things are fair and equitable. And they need to feel a sense of security, whether it's financial security, physical security, economic security, but a sense that they are safe. And I think it's not hard to see how in social media, how these have been eroded, how they're being eroded every day, and how people are being threatened. And so our goal here is to actually co-create this environment. So you'll see here, for example, we're going to ask people how we're doing. We're going to ask them to rate us on how well we're doing in terms of creating community and creating agency. And we think this can be quite a game changer. There's even prompts, for example, James mentioned mindfulness, to just get off. It's time to get off. It's time to go outside. It's time to go watch a movie with somebody, and little nudges towards well-being that can happen on the app and also off the app, if that's where it can be. So our goal is that people leave the app feeling better than when they came on. And I know that's not something that I feel on social media very often.
Awesome.
Jillian, I really appreciate you sharing that, and Bob and James, thank you for the explanation. And I just think it's so exciting where, again, we're seeing where the company was when we first engaged to where it's gotten to. And Jillian, I know a couple of times you've been able to do a demo, and I didn't know if you could share that of the app, or we can move on.
Yeah, I could do that. I'll share my screen.
Okay, because I just it's amazing when you can see it in real time. So if you could, I think that would be very cool.
So it's available in the App Store and Google Play. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the home. This is where I get recommendations from my friends and family. You can see the affinity rings around, other users. I can click on a user and see other things that their affinity, other items that they have up next that they've rated, folders that they store their media in. So this is where we get the recommendations in the home. Also, the $1 million question, which is, I remember when somebody told me to watch Ted Lasso, what network is it on? We have that right here, watch on Apple TV. So no more like struggling what network it is on. There's also an active community that people are talking about, the episodes. You can watch a trailer, as well as you can see other, other shows or things that the other actors are in. So that's for, a TV show. In our Discover section, this is kind of fun that since we are across many different medias, if I search for Ted Lasso, there's TV shows, there's movies, there's podcasts, there's books, and then there's YouTube channels specifically about this. So if I'm really a Ted Lasso nerd and I want to, listen to podcasts about goldfish or, or the TV shows or books, I could see that. We also do have what is trending in CliqRex. So this is, you can find out what's trending, recent activity, what's trending globally. We also have built-in collections where you can see, I'm looking for a happiness boost and I specifically want a podcast, or maybe I want a TV show. So a lot of things put into the app to help you find media that would be a good match for you. Here is friends. This is where you can see your friends, sorted by affinity. And at any point you can, click on any of your friends and see, what they're interested in, or, what they are consuming. You can also see who they're following and their followers, and then based on their affinity, dive into there. And then finally, everything is stored in my stuff. So this is where I'm ready to consume something, and I don't know how many times I've done this actually with my wife, like, what was that one show we were watching a while ago? And then we're like, oh, Shadow and Bone. There's a crazy storm happening outside. So, and then up next, this is when somebody talked to you at, a restaurant, a bar, you're, at a park, whatever. They're like, hey, you should check out da da da. Well, you do that and you put it into your up next folder, and you set the status. And then the next time you're looking for something to either, watch or listen to, you can immediately go here. Podcasts. We now have a built-in podcast player. So you can play podcasts inside of here, as well as you can consume YouTube. So in short, we've come a long way in a year and a half, to get here. It's a running app, and it's doing all the things that we want it to do at this point.
James, really appreciate you sharing that. I know one thing, being a CliqRex user, that I've enjoyed is what you mentioned at the beginning of the demo, which is you search Ted Lasso and then what is it on, and you can see the Apple TV, because it alleviates, for at least my fiance and I, some questions on where we can watch
Yeah,
it.
like, hey, somebody told me to watch Gladiator, and maybe I could watch the trailer in here, and then you can click on, and if you could actually watch it in your phone, or you just know what it's going to be on. So I know this is on Stars. I don't know what Spirited Away on. It's on HBO Max right there. So yeah, we can't lose sight of just going back to, like, hey, where is this media? Where can I consume it? And then, if I was actually in wanting to watch Spirited Away, I could put it in my up next, and then I'd have, access to it. And I did watch it. Here's our cool little raider, our little happy and sad dinosaur. So you can, rate it. Yeah, thanks for that opportunity.
Yeah, no, James, I love it. And this is me, taking my Netcapital hat off and just being a user on a Tuesday night or Friday night. It comes in handy. It's very convenient. It's easy to use. And I think for couples, it's like, honey, what station was this on? It gets right to it. So
Well, it's funny you say that, because we do have what's called collaborative folders. And
Yep.
so my wife and I, we have this James Dara watch that we both collaborate. We both add content to, as well as I have one with my daughter that it's, watch with Kenzie. So that is a nice tool that you finally get a chance to sit down with your wife or your significant other, and you're like, hey, what is it that we were going to watch? So it's really fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, I think it's wonderful, and again, easy to use, and very convenient.
Awesome. Thanks for that feedback.
So
And we're probably going over, but we'd be happy to answer any questions.
yeah, no, I just one reminder for everyone, before we move on to the next question, is that CliqRex is actively raising right now on Netcapital. I did put their investment link in our chat, but for those who will see this after this live webinar, you can go to netcapital.com and search the company and invest if you think it's a good opportunity for yourself. And moving to, we've had a couple folks ask, and Bob, you alluded to a little bit, what 2023 looks like, but James, can you talk about, the future of the company and kind of where you see it going post 2023?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I think that what we feel, I think there's two things, like what do we want to do with the product, and what do we want to do financially. And I don't feel we want to be, we want to be bought, but we'd be okay with that. But to go public in 3 to 5 years, I feel that we have a lot of momentum and energy behind, this product. Pretty much everybody that we show it to loves it. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback from, this product being viable and what they want to use, and they are using it. So we've seen a lot of organic and natural growth from from a financial perspective. We feel that we have something that's going to be a hit. And then our vision for for the product is, I think that, we're at the intersection, as Jillian pointed out, between, entertainment, social media, entertainment, and it's a recommendation engine. So, and it can be that patent pending affinity piece that Jillian also pointed out, really will allow us to add music or games or bourbon or beer or wine or Broadway, the things that you get recommendations from your friends and family. Those are the ones that sort of matter to you. But then it opens up to, oh, the things that I've rated, there's other people out there that are very similar to me, and we have that affinity. And I can look at their stuff. Maybe I'll add them to my click, or and I'll follow them, and I'll see their recommendations. So there's a lot of potential for the product growth. Bob sort of talked about the gamification. We know that that's going to be critical, but realizing that we are truly building a recommendation engine that will be product agnostic, and we just have to find the right products that are a good fit, that we're going to get solid recommendations. Is it games next? We have a lot of demand that people want to see music in there. I think we need to do, we already have beta tested the music. It works. We just want to make sure there's a good value add. So connect to Spotify, for example, pull in playlists, pull in artists, pull in songs, make sure that it's viable and worthwhile for people.
Could I add just one more area of growth? I was fortunate enough to get to spend the winter or their summer in Australia, and we actually did some research on this while we were there. And one of the things that was really notable is the problems that we are finding here are really prevalent everywhere. So the explosion that we're seeing in digital entertainment, the problems that people have, were exactly the same. It was amazing. And so what we were doing here, the type of app we were building, the type of problems that we were seeing, the type of marketing that we do, it's really very universal. These are sort of universal human truths and universal industry truths that we're dealing with. So there's also opportunity, I think, for this outside of the US as well, because these structures are very, very similar.
Jillian, thank you for that. And we've had a couple folks ask, James, I know you alluded to it earlier on, but Jillian, where can folks download the app?
The App Store or Google Play. You can go to CliqRex.com and there's download links there. I know that we will have another release. Apple, it's already on the Google. Apple will release it later today. It's in review. So there's a lot of nice features in that new version. We're remembering where your podcast playhead is. Also, when you close the app, it'll be up top. So if and when you do download the app, we are doing updates weekly. We intend to have a soft launch of our MVP in May is sort of our the timeline that we're anticipating. But it is functional, and everything that I shared is in the app.
No,
and if you're like me, I think you're pulling your phone out every time I'm at a party and talking to people, because you get to a certain age and you're not going to remember it. Every time I sit down at the end of a day to think about what I want to watch, the first thing I'm doing is going to CliqRex after I watch it, coming back in and giving that Rex afterwards. So really being sort of the bookend of all types of entertainment.
Yeah, it's working. I'm finding new podcasts, new books, new YouTube channels, and the TV shows and movies. It truly did solve that problem, that I don't have to go Googling or looking like what to watch. I'm already prepared, and now I'm sort of finalizing my decisions between a couple shows, for example. So it's really fun.
No, thank you, James, and thank you, Jillian. As we wrap up here, and being in April 2023, Happy to go around the screen, or if James, if you just want to take it, or we'll follow your lead. But why is the time? Why is it now? Why is the time now for folks to consider investing in CliqRex? I know we've talked about accomplishments last year, where it's going, but right now, in terms of having that capital, which really is growth capital, to be able to implement and execute, why is it right now?
Yeah, I'd say this is the ground floor of, something that we believe is going to be very big and powerful. The things that we want to use the capital for are development and marketing. I mean, we need to get this to the masses. We're seeing it grow organically, so everybody's sharing it. But right now, I'd say, we're a ground floor opportunity with a solution that is working, and the market potential is huge. Anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah, I think when we get to go-to-market strategy, that's where obviously I'm looking at it, and the goal is to build a product that people want to download, and then to have a reason for them to keep coming back, right? And again, it's keying into that. And so we have, I think, problems. We have solutions to today's problems. I think we're ahead of the curve. And I think we need to move quickly, right? So what we've been looking for is developing the product to where it was really attractive to people, and now we're ready to go. And we didn't want to put it out there before then, but now we feel really confident with it, that we have a product that we know is going to be an addition to people's lives. So the next step is having the funding to let them know about it. We think once they have it, we'll put the gamification in there to have them keep coming back. We think the product will do it. It's communication. It's having the money now to do our social media campaigns, to do our influencer campaigns, and to get people on there and start sharing. That's where we are.
And I just want to add something. The market has grown so much that people have a real problem. They're looking for ways to not waste time searching for things. And I believe, I don't know if we mentioned in Google, #1 keyword was what to watch. And that's the reason we really started this app, to solve this big problem that is only going to get bigger. And people are just lost and confused how to not spend 40 minutes, an hour a day searching for things and then get tired and not watch at all. They can use that time to do something more productive, in my opinion.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, as another reminder, CliqRex is actively raising on Netcapital right now. You can go to netcapital.com and search the company. And for those listening in, again, I've put it in the chat. Wrapping up here, just really want to thank each of you for taking the time today. I know how busy you are, but I can say this, and from personal experience, CliqRex, again, seeing the evolution of where you guys have come is amazing, but each of you are just incredible entrepreneurs, and it's just been a pleasure getting to know each of you and seeing really the drive and the mission and where the company has gone and then where it's going. So really appreciate everyone taking the time to chat. Thank you to our attendees for coming in, and looking forward to speaking with everyone soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Troy. Thank you.